All right, we're back at the end of our whirlwind tour of the book of Proverbs. And again, my apologies for those of you who have been like maybe waiting for Proverbs and going, oh, really love to dig into this. Again, I wasn't sure how to do this without being a long time. And so it's really, this is an overview. And so here's the final theme we're going to talk about, and that's of attitudes. Proverbs encourages positive attitudes, warns against negative attitudes. That sounds simple enough. But here again, practical wisdom for life is not just about our actions. There's a lot in Proverbs about mindset, about attitudes, because what we think about, how we think, will shape our actions. And so there's all sorts of kind of inner attitude mindset Proverbs. 5 topics, a couple Proverbs each. Anger and self-control, Proverbs 14:29. A patient person has great understanding, but a quick-tempered one displays folly, foolishness. 15:28. The heart of the righteous weighs its answers, but the mouth of the wicked gushes evil. Kind of that think first, speak later, kind of, or speak, slowly kind of idea. About pride and humility. Again, we have that classic pride goes before a fall, which here it is, Proverbs 11:2. Now NLT translates this way: when pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humility comes wisdom. We've talked about humility in a previous devotional this week. Proverbs 16:18 and 19. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Again, here's that same kind of theme as was back in 11:2. 19, verse 19. Better to be lowly in spirit, humble, and among the oppressed than to share plunder with the proud. Better to be poor and righteous than to be wealthy but wicked. Is just one of the things related to wealth. Again, there's other proverbs that say that very explicitly. Envy and contentment, just that attitude of envy, contentment, man. I mean, our culture is almost our economy is actually predicated on discontent. If an advertiser can make you discontent with what you already have, then you're more likely to buy to try to find contentment, right? So envy and contentment. 14:30. A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. Again, going back to yesterday, that what our attitudes are can affect even our very health, physical health. Chapter 23, verses 17 and 18. Do not let your heart envy sinners, but always be zealous for fear of the Lord. There is surely a future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off. So again, if you're in a place where, things are bad, things are hard, and you look at someone who's not fearing God, not living for Jesus, not caring about Jesus, and life seems to be going so well for them, it's like, don't envy them. Their ultimate road is not going to be where you want to be. Hatred and love. There's proverbs about these as well. Proverbs 10:12, for example. Hatred stirs up dissension, but love covers over all wrongs. So just think about this proverb for a moment in the context of what's been going on, just say the last 2 years. Has there been dissension within our nation? Has there been dissension within our communities? Has there been dissensions even within churches? Yeah, that's evidence that there's hatred at work, not love. That's thought-provoking. At least it is for me. Proverbs 15:17. Better a meal of vegetables where there is love than a fattened calf with hatred. Apologies to any vegans or vegetarians in my next comment, but man, I mean, better to be eating salad with friends, and that's all you have, than the greatest buffet. Pick whatever meat you may enjoy, but to have that with those that just are filled with hatred, or even just within your own heart. Finally, laziness and diligence. Could have gone back to the ant passage from Proverbs 6, but here's a couple. Chapter 12, verses 24 and 27. Diligent hands will rule, but laziness ends in slave labor. The lazy person does not roast their game, but the diligent person prizes his possessions. Again, just there's a word picture there, which again, I kind of find funny because I get kind of teased at home that I'm the one least likely to heat up leftovers. I'm perfectly content just to eat them cold. But I'll be honest, if I take the time to warm them up and kind of like season them again and anew, yeah, they taste better. So, you know, a lazy person doesn't heat their leftovers. I admit, I just want to eat and get done to go on to other stuff. I'm not prizing it the same. There are more topics than these 5, more Proverbs than these 10. Again, the book of Proverbs is intended as a reference book, one that you return to again and again, letting the wisdom soak in so it shapes our hearts and our minds. And you know, wisdom is applied knowledge, but the wisdom has to flow from our hearts and our minds first. If we want to see our actions shaped by wisdom, remember, it's knowledge applied, right? So it's how we think, where our heart is, and the orientation of our heart and mind is something Proverbs is very interested to speak about. There are at least 6 passages, some of them just 3 to 4 verses, others much, much longer, kind of half a chapter, as we have it kind of oriented about the topic of adultery and fidelity. And on the surface, some of these passages are very much about wise living as being focused on one's spouse only, being faithful to your spouse, and you know, there's talk of, you know, prostitutes or wayward women. Again, just because of just the nature of the culture, it kind of focuses the language on men. But just 3 verses, Proverbs 23 verses 26 to 28, just as an example. My son, give me your heart, let your eyes keep to my ways. For a prostitute is a deep pit, and a wayward wife is a narrow well. Like a bandit, she lies in wait and multiplies the unfaithful among men. Again, we can look at that and go very easily, it's all about just, you know, human to human, spouse to spouse relationships, fidelity, and there's wisdom there to be sure in and of itself. However, even the passages that are more direct related to spouses point to a greater faithfulness and fidelity, which is fidelity to God. Like, what is the reason to be faithful to your spouse? Again, remember the foundation of Proverbs. It's not about success in life. It's not about what leads to a good life. Those are fruits that come from following God in general, right? Like, this is a thing where it's God is the focus. It's God himself who made and gives life to us. And so out of being faithful to him, seeking to follow, honor, fear him, we live faithful lives to those we are in covenant and relationship with. And so I want to encourage you, whether today or tomorrow being Saturday, take some time tomorrow and read Proverbs chapter 3 as a close to our consideration and reflection on the book of Proverbs this week. But don't let this be the last time we turn to the book of Proverbs. It's something, again, meant to go back to and back to as a way to keep finding wisdom that we apply, a heart and a mind being increasingly shaped to be like Jesus. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know his peace. God bless.